I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, Episode 12. Last episode, we heard Mao Mao in her monologue saying that she knew there was a resemblance. It's Master Jinshi. And we see them right next to each other. Those two might as well swap outfits. Swap. Which leads us into
the words, left me instead of my son died.
Yep. God damn it. It feels so, like, confirmed, you know? But I'm nervous about what's to come through Jinshi's own discovery.
Mm-hmm. And whether it's more of a feeling on his end of some sort of closeness and connection, and or more something that he kind of has known that is a family secret.
Or an action based off of that feeling.
Right. Another question mark here is the Emperor's knowledge of what we are now deeming or feeling is kind of fact.
Do you think that Jinshi assumes Mao Mao has always known, assumes Mao Mao doesn't know?
If he knows?
No, about, like, her own lineage and her father being, you know?
Oh, for the very end of the episode where we also get that realization on Jinshi's end.
You know what I mean? I was thinking, like, oh, it's kind of cool that they both recently learned, like, this confirmation of information. Oh, fuck. Like, if Jinshi might be like, yo, Mao Mao's a plant. Not actually, but, like...
That's what we're worried about. We're worried that he's at first going to have some sort of suspicion or coldness toward Mao Mao, feeling like she intentionally kept something from him or everyone. Mm-hmm. Maybe there is a worry there of a revenge plot. Maybe there needs to be a mistrust in her talent as an apothecary if she was taught by someone who was once expelled. Definitely has me a little bit nervous, but I also just maybe it's more so that he is like, why didn't she tell me? Did she not feel like she could talk to me? I'm hoping it would be more of that than, like, I now have to, as my job as Master Jinshi, be more suspicious of her.
Yeah.
Whew.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
12 is a good number. Because it could be like a halfway point number. So, like, this episode could end up being really big. I mean, the ending of last episode in general was, like, really big for the plot.
12's an okay number. I don't think that, like, 12 gives enough aura.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I like 12.
14? 17? You're telling me 12 comes close to 17?
12 feels so much better. Don't like.
What should we do?
本民の親族は財産を奪われ、重さの違いはあるが、すべて肉刑に処された。そして今、本民の実家およびその関係者の名簿がここにある。
名簿には商いの取引先も含まれています。養蜂以外にも手広くやっていたようで、王宮内に関係者の子女が80人ほどいます。
2000人中80人か。なかなかの的中率だな。
Wait, so Mao Mao's family is related in some way, whether business?
飛ばされた先は九段の関係者だったらしい。正しいかどうかは関係ない。俺が言えばその通りになる。
Wow.
平民と貴人の区切りをつけたがるあれはどんなに嫌な命令だろうと受け止めるだろう。命令するのは簡単だ。簡単に決めてしまえばいい。隠蔽すればこのまま高級に留めておける。だがもしそれが彼女の意に反しているのであれば、好きでもない場所に引き止められたと気づいたとき、どのように受け取られよう。
Been forced to stay.
二人の間の亀裂がこれ以上とても恐ろしい。
紳士様、都合の良い駒ではなかったのですか。
大量解雇。
So it's the kidnapper's family.
And sold off too.
なんだか嫌な予感がする。今解雇とかかなり困るんだが、時期が悪い。
She wouldn't want to be fired now.
まだやり手ババアのところに乗客を送り込めていない。今帰れば。あんたの客だよ。
Oh, what a cool shot.
She's gonna wanna know. And he was just talking about trying to conceal it.
私の書類上の実家は交易を行っている商家になっていた。何らかの接点があるかもしれない。
He's gonna be like in your room, Mao Mao. Oh,
wow.
That transition.
Was that Ao Duo's place and it was empty? Mao Mao used.
Is it Ao Duo? Or okay.
落ち着け、顔が真っ赤だぞ。
お話があります。
分かった。中で話そう。今度の大量解雇のことだろ。
はい。私はどうなるのでしょうか。つまり解雇というわけですね。
どうしたい？
He doesn't want to force her here.
都合の良い駒ではなかったのですか。
Whatever he says goes, though.
玉葉様の次女になってから毒味もできるし、医局にも出入りできる。それなりに今の生活を気に入ってる。でも私はただの女官。解雇しないでくださいなんて言える立場ではない。こびる目をしないようにしなければ。私はただの女官です。
It's the voice acting.
下働きでも、まかないでも、毒味役でも、命じられればやります。
命じられれば。
そうだ。命令されればできるだけやり遂げる。だからクビにしないでくれ。
分かった。
それでは
金は弾もう。
交渉失敗。マオマオ解雇。
God, I understand why Jinchi is thinking that, yeah.
I think he was hoping that she would say she wanted to stay so he could just do it and not feel bad.
Well, it's like he's not gonna make her do something she doesn't want. He didn't know that she wanted it, and through her language, she wasn't able.
解雇通知の翌週、シャオマオは花町へ帰っていった。
Damn.
礼儀正しく世話になった場所一軒一軒に挨拶をして回ったという。
They're all gonna miss her.
後悔しても知らないわよ。
お気に入りのおもちゃをなくしたこの人に代わりの珍しいおもちゃ
To
を
replace his favorite one has always been a challenge.
いや、娘をおもちゃと一緒にしてはいけないのかもしれない。道具として扱いたくなくて引き止めるのをやめたのだ。
Didn't want to treat her as a pawn.
代わりがダメならあの武官に尋ねてみるか。
Is Gaoshin gonna meddle?
やっぱりそばかすはない方がいいわね。口紅は私のを貸してあげる。一晩の尺で一般の給金1年分の銀が消える6召喚の3姫をまとめて
All three at once?
金とはあるところにはあるものである。一緒に行くって言っても私の役目は姉ちゃんたちの引き立て。
Just so you look better.
高級を出るとき思ったより金を弾んでもらえたから
More than expected.
とりあえず売り飛ばされずに済んでいる。
おや、少しはマシになったじゃないか。すぐに客を取ってくれてもいいんだよ。
やり手ババアはどうしても私を妓女にしたいらしい。
たんまり稼いできな。
シーカも銀ぜず2個も引けない。打とうなんてもってのほか。
You dance in the intro.
興味もない薬屋の娘なのに。
Was that Jinchi in the corner? Oh my god.
だと聞いたが、思ったより年若いな。
ジュル
李白様の縁なら借金も少しは減っただろうに。さて、仕事。
Wow.
"仕事とはいえ、ずっと笑ってるのは疲れるな。おや、つまらないのか？失礼します。
一人にしてくれ。一人になりたいんだ。
はて、どこかで聞いたことがあるような声。人士様。
なぜ避ける？
議女にも触れないでください。
お前、化粧で変わるって言われないか？
アルバイト中です。
技能でか？
そうです。
もしかしてお前。
このお方はどうにも人の低層を疑う性格らしい。
What a great line.
ほとんどりしてませんよ。まだ。
Yet.
まだ。なら、俺が買ってやろうか。
いいかもしれませんね。もう一度高級に勤めるのも悪くないです。
あそこが嫌で辞めたんじゃなかったのか。
I didn't quit!
I love this so much. That's what you were doing?
確かに面倒事は多かったですが、毒味役などなろうと思ってなれるものじゃありません。
Perform.
いただけないのは
Perform.
できないことくらいでした。
毒実験はさすがにやめろ。
今日はまた一段と子供みたいな顔をする。
言葉が足りないって言われないか？
よく言われます。
だからなんで逃げる？
規則ですから。
少しくらいいいだろう。
ダメです。
減るもんじゃないだろう。
気力が減ります。
片手だけ、指先だけだ。
そういえばこの男粘着質だったな。指先だけですよ。
The lipstick going on his fingers.
こいつ映るじゃないか。
あら、いつの間にまおまおったら見てられないな。
姉ちゃん。もう何が何やら困ったもので、その後のことはよく覚えていない。
This is like Parent Trap. Like
It's a trap!
とにかく姉ちゃんたちの追求がしつこかったのはよく覚えている。
Oh my god. None of that needed to happen, but I am so fucking happy it all happened. This is why I love this show.
さらわれたのも驚きだが、よりによって売られた先が高級とは。しかも出世して次女にまでなって。
マオマオ、できてるかい？
うん、はい、これ。
見てもらいたいのがいるんだ。頼めるかい？
わかった。
The annex?
Mm.
No.
高級か。生涯関わりたくない場所だったんだよな。元気かな、みんな。今出るから。
ゆっくりしてきな。たまにしか入れないんだ。
借金ならちゃんと返すよ。
当たり前だ。
でも高級も花街も大して変わらないのかも。
うんうん。
眠れないのか？
少し風に当たってくる。
気をつけるんだよ。
What if we got kidnapped again and we don't get to make a decision?
Wow.
高級も花街も大して変わらない花園であり。
A garden and a cage. This feels like an end of a season. This isn't the end of the show, right?
No, I don't think so. I did say the number 12 felt pretty important. And the change in Li Shu's taster from then to now.
For real.
Sadistic look to a look of worry.
It's just like, I usually only get this when somebody's about to die or something's coming to an end.
Well, this time it's a choice, you know?
You're right. It's different.
It's like choosing the place where you want to belong. They might be both a garden and a cage, but...
It's a beautiful song.
I love them.
数日後、都の花町に美しい貴人が現
To
れ
like buy her? Like he...
やり手ババアも目がくらむ金子と、それとなぜか虫から生えた奇妙な草を持ったその男は一人の娘を所望した。
He knows she wants to.
You can't tell that I'm kicking my feet under the table right now.
I fell to pieces when that lipstick scene happened.
Oh my god. Whew.
Goshen is the best character in the show. You cannot argue that. It's just a fact.
He's so good. He immediately was like, okay, she's not a pawn.
Yeah.
She's not a tool. How do I help him? Here. I hope you don't mind, but in our discussion, can we please rewatch the lipstick scene?
Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, Episode 12.
12.
I love this show so much.
Aren't I so smart, and now you feel super bad and silly for, during the intro, disagreeing with me, even if it was a joke, that Episode 12 sounds like a great number and will probably be a very big episode.
I wasn't talking about numbers.
You were like, 17's a good number.
Those are two very different conversations. One is trying to say which episode in a season is going to have most significance in terms of events playing out. The other's talking about numbers and the aura they give.
Mm-hmm. I think they're very perfectly tied together. I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
I don't know. I don't think that they're tied together, but fuck, this episode was so good, man. I had said during it, like, it didn't need to happen, but I'm happy that it did, in the sense that it's like, if next episode it starts and we're back in the rear palace, then in terms of the situation that we're in, for the most part, not a ton has changed, but obviously a bunch has changed, right? And with that change and like the events that led to it, I think what it did for me was really grow my appreciation for how this show is depicting people's thought process. Mm-hmm.
In particular, Jinshi?
It was Jinshi and Mao Mao together, right? It's understanding how conversations work to such a like clinical level that you're able to portray Jinshi is such a person that, yeah, I have my own desires. That's right. It's not about right or wrong. I get to make my own decisions. What I say goes. And then him being like, fuck, but if I choose to do that, I'll make a decision. What I say goes. I don't want it to step on the actual desire of Mao Mao. And then obviously through Mao Mao's point of view, we're getting like, okay, I want this, but I gotta play it cool. And it's like when you're Googling something, an answer to something, but you're phrasing it in the type of way that you're only going to get the answer that you want, right? Jinshi was so scared and so like, fuck, I know Mao Mao isn't going to want to stay here, that through Mao Mao's explanation, we knew through her monologue, with every word and point that she was hitting, how it perfectly described and felt like it was enough and adequate to say that she did want to stay here. I'll take a pay cut, bro. I'll be whatever you want me to be. Just tell me what you want. But all Jinshi was hearing was,
it's an order.
It's an order.
From
tell
you
me
and
what
I'll do whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
So good.
Other evidence.
Confirmation bias depicted in like such a like beautiful fucking like psychological way. I'm obsessed with the show. I love it.
Other evidence that he would have had, that she would have, for him to kind of put his own, what she would want onto her without asking, is that she went through hoops that are not normally gone through in the way that they are in order to visit home, by using Lihaku and the hairpin in a way that is not normally, that's not what it's normally used for, is a non-favor aspect, like in the way that she used it. And to him, everything that he would have seen is, this person is not here of their own free will. We had that conversation before the garden party where he really like learns her actual backstory of how she came to be here and the freckles, and that she was kidnapped and brought here and sold off. And so everything he knows is that she has a loving family back home and people she'd want to visit. And she is not here of her own free will, and other people are making money off of her being here.
Anything could be seen as like just confirmation that, fuck, you're right, she doesn't want to be here. Fucking, when's the last time you see somebody potentially get fired and they run up to see if they were one of the people who got fired in such a exasperated way as a girl in high school running to a casting call sheet to see if she got the lead,
you'd think that she was like, oh my god, do I get to go home?
Yeah, like you could see it that way easily, even though it's obviously not the case. And I love that because it builds up Jinshi as such a strong, like strong character in how we get to know him. And it isn't just Mao Mao. I love that.
I hadn't thought about Mao Mao running around in that way that you just brought up, but it would lend more to, once she brings it up in her like exasperated, red face, he suddenly gets like a sad look on his face. You could totally read that as he is taking this as she was excitedly searching for him in order to find out if she gets to go home.
God. It's so good. It's perfect. I really, can I tell you my favorite line of dialogue this entire episode? Sure. So, upon talking about, Mao Mao's lack of skills, never going to dance, right? Not going to perform, not going to sing, not going to do anything of such, not going to recite poetry. In talking to Jinshi at the table, she references being a taster as a performance. I performed as a taster. That is hands down one of my favorite lines of dialogue from Mao Mao, because knowing her and knowing Jinshi's opinion of her and being like, you really gotta stop tasting poison. Oh wait, that's not the kind of person you are. It's just like, I love Mao Mao so much.
It's like her skill that she, in the same way that someone can practice an instrument, poison is a tolerance that she has built up. And if we think back to the garden party, all of those military officers would probably agree with the idea that her being a taster is a performance by the looks on her face.
Exactly. It's just like all three of the princesses. It's exactly the same.
For and in front of others.
Yep.
And yes, amazing word choice there. I also really liked that.
It's so good.
I think my favorite, obviously other than the lipstick scene, which we're going to get into, I'm sure, my favorite moment in this episode, other than that, was the moment that Goshin realizes that Jinshi did not want to treat Mao Mao as a pawn, and that is why he was not going to order her to stay. But how do we replace his favorite toy? Flashback to him as a child, and then being like, no, it's more than replacing his current favorite toy.
Yeah.
Like, there's something significant about this person to Jinshi. And Goshin is like real one father figure here, because he's like okay, how can I help here? Oh, Lee Haku knows the Verdigris house. We can have his help in order to set this up where Jinshi can go and see Mao Mao again, and maybe they can have more of a conversation.
It's perfect because it's not him doing something like and solidifying it for Jinshi. It's giving Jinshi and Mao Mao another opportunity to
another opportunity.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, I like how Jinshi was like, You're not very good with your words, are you, Mao Mao? And she's like, yeah, I hear that a lot. But it's so fucking wrong at the same time because she's so good with her words.
She's specific about... Honestly, it kind of relates to you. You try to be very specific with your words.
Yeah, and then everybody's like, you suck.
You probably think in the same way that Mao Mao does about how she's going to approach what she's going to say. Like when she's talking to Jinshi, she's like, I don't want to come off like I'm begging to stay here. So how can I phrase this to him where he still gets the idea that I want to stay, but he doesn't feel like I'm like, begging. As a servant girl begging him, a higher status person in this rear palace, for my job. And then that comes with someone who I would say I'm probably more like Jinshi here, that's like overthinking in the way that I'm overcompensating over top of you trying to figure out what you actually want, and I'm not even listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or how you might mean it. I already have an idea in my head of what you want, and I'm just going to try to be as supportive as possible. And then the misunderstanding ensues.
Mao Mao, I think, is one of... It's like, I said it very early on. Like, I think episode 1, that they reminded me of a character from Steins Gate in that similar, like, unhinged way that I'm just so sold. I'm so in love. I have like 3 just screenshots of Mao Mao on my phone in different meme formats that my friends have sent me for esports. And it's like Mao Mao just wearing different esports team jerseys. And I'm like, I love everything that has to do with the Apothecary Diaries. Okay, let's talk about it.
Oh, the scene?
Yeah.
Can I say a few more things before we get into the favorite moment?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So obviously I think this is a good lead-in to this moment, but if this is in fact a romance story, then something...
If it is.
Which I don't have, like, explicit confirmation because I've never looked the show up, but I have been given a lot of evidence before this moment that it was. At least in my own headcanon, because I try to find romance everywhere. Something that did need to have happen in order for... Already, we have them still... We can't get rid of their statuses in terms of, like, their hierarchy. If Jinshi really is... whether he's in his current position in the rear palace or he's actually known as the emperor's son, we still have them at vastly different, like, separation in terms of that status. We can't undo that, but what we can undo is the power role of entrapment.
Yep.
We here have been, in this episode, dealing with one of our last big conversations between these two characters, where Mao Mao's like, if I am going to be executed, it is on your order. Like, she's really laying it on thick to him in that moment for him to truly realize that she is in a position where she needs to do whatever he says. And we can't completely undo that because of the fact that we can't just completely magically eradicate their positions in this society. But what we can do is make it so she's not trapped here and that it is a choice that she is in the rear palace. She has no debt to the Verdigris house anymore. She has no kidnappers that are getting the money from her paycheck anymore. She is not sold off. Her freedom essentially has been bought. And she is choosing to return to a job instead of a servitude, basically. And that is the best thing that we could do here to start moving them forward, maybe in a more romantic way. Because we're dealing with that power dynamic that is already existing, and we can't necessarily completely eradicate that. Okay.
I want to talk about another thing, too. Okay. I think that it was really cool that it seemed like, to me, Jinshi was in Aodo's place, like, after she had already moved out. that fucking hits, if I interpreted that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. That, like...
I thought that's where Mao Mao would find him. I honestly thought they might have another emotional moment there, which was not necessarily necessary, but I thought that Mao Mao might think that might be where he is.
Yeah.
But then again, it did not need to happen. What was more important was like what was happening in the plot of the mass layoffs and what was currently on Mao Mao's brain of like, am I getting laid off or not?
Yeah. So what do you think of the lipstick scene?
Is it too weird to just rewatch the whole thing as like a secondary reaction in the discussion?
Okay,
is that wrong? Am I wrong for wanting that?
Okay.
そうだよな。お前
I'm gonna
そういう
wave so
や
we
つだよ
know.
な。
何ですか？
言葉が足りないって言われないか？
よく言われます。
だからなんで逃げる？
規則ですか？
You can't touch her.
少しくらいいいだろ？
ダメです。
得るもんじゃないだろ。
気力が減ります。
片手だけ、指先だけだ。
Everybody's watching.
この男粘着質だったな。
Showing the lips.
The sound cue is so good. I love Mao Mao's reaction. I like it how it stays on his lip. It's almost like the color sticks. Her initial reaction was to the kiss, and then it being left on the lip, on the bottom lip, was what I think made her turn away. You know, like seeing her lips on him.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. So the lipstick was the last touch that was done to her on her makeup.
Correct.
Before she left, which obviously perfect for that to be the last finishing touch on her. That like this is the last thing that we're doing that's almost altering her appearance from what Jinshi is used to. And he has a line that's like, that she does look very altered when she has like full makeup and the no freckles. And oh my goodness, the fact that he's so unembarrassed by what he has done here.
Amazing.
He is a flirt.
I love him so much.
I wish, honestly, could we get like a, you know, after credit added or a before credit added into the next episode of that conversation that Mao Mao had to have with the three, verdigris big sisters?
You know what's the best about it is like Jinshi was so like peeved that it wasn't working on Mao Mao. And now, like, just his normal, like, how he plays it.
How he plays it.
Yeah, and now it's turned into this, like, I know you don't like it, and that's why I'm gonna do it. And it's so fucking awesome.
And he also wasn't totally putting on at the same time.
Exactly,
he was like, I want to do this, so I'm gonna do it. And her reaction, while, like, being like, oh my god, and, you know, looking a little bit disgusted, she's also turning away and blushing.
Mm-hmm.
Hoo. Jinshi is a master of the moves.
That will definitely be very in my mind for the next couple days.
It's kind of hard to beat in terms of like, there's something about super cute romantic moments that have had a lot of like build up where you have been kind of waiting and wanting it.
Yeah.
That kind of just stick with you.
Man,
days after.
One of my favorite things about the show is the score. Like, it's like so unique and it's so cool that like when they choose to really go for it, I don't know. I love it. Who do you think we got another shot, I think it was of the same woman within
the annex?
Yeah.
So I actually had a theory that I just didn't find a good time to bring it up and then would forget about it, you know, when there wasn't a good time to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
But my theory, because of this episode, has already been dashed. It's like a no-go. My theory was, when Mao Mao was back with Lee Haku, we only saw 2 of the 3 princesses. So my theory was like, while Mao Mao's been gone at the rear palace, something happened to one of the three, the one that we didn't see. But we saw her in this episode. She was perfectly fine.
Maybe there was 4 princesses at one point.
At one point, right.
Maybe it's her daughter. Maybe it's, like, it could be anything. Like, I feel like we don't... the only context we have is that it seems like it spans a long time. It's somebody who is seemingly important to
the old lady.
Yeah. And she's a great character in her own right, and through her character of like damn right, that's a given that you're gonna pay it back, and her obvious like care and love for Mao Mao, right? That leads me to be like, it's like all of that is very like a character in of itself, like, oh well, of course you're gonna do this, but when she's like, hey, can you come with me for a second, like it breaks this like barrier of like initial emotion, and it makes me feel like this person's extremely important to her, and that's why she wants somebody who's as capable as Mao Mao to check,
Yeah. Part of me feels like when she makes a quip at Mao Mao, when she sees Mao Mao all dolled up of like, oh, you could start taking solo customers, I kind of get from that character that she wouldn't necessarily rush or force that on Mao Mao in actuality.
Yeah.
Because I think that she views Mao Mao somewhat of a daughter figure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I absolutely love the show. I love the show. I know the show is filled with a lot of like reminiscing about what we've seen thus far. I
thought someone was gonna die.
We have Mao Mao sitting in the snow, thinking back to like all of these moments, these things that tie both the red light district to the rear palace, how they're both a garden and a cage, but all of these happy memories and people that she's met within the rear palace have a very heavy presence in her reminiscing.
Yeah.
Like, there are true caring and loving people there as well that she has forged bonds with that she would miss.
Yep. All right, I think that's it for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.